6:31, I'm going to call to order the February 20th, 2025 meeting of the Personnel and Compensation Committee. I would ask you to please silence your cell phones if you're following online. You may find this broadcast on the county website under the tab for the legislature. This time, I'd like to ask everyone to rise for the pledge of the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Doreen, roll call, please.
Benton,
Here.
Benelli, Luhan,
Present.
Menuda,
Here.
O'Donnell, Sierra,
Here.
Ganga, and Sabi.
I'm here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Vice President Riyad.
Okay, good afternoon. We got quite a few things on the agenda this afternoon. First up is Sheriff's Department. What do we have here today? Come on up, folks. This passed yesterday at Public Safety. So we have a request to increase the starting hourly rate of per diem deputy sheriffs from $25.51 to $32.46 to be competitive with surrounding law enforcement agencies and provide ability to attract the best candidates for the position. Funds to cover this increase will be covered by the existing budget. Legislative request number 033. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Benton and Sierra. Okay, great. If you recall, was 2 years ago, we had raised this, but there's a need to do that again. Folks, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
I actually brought here today with me too, one of our lieutenants, Lance Sonner. He's our patrol lieutenant. So kind of bring other members of the agency just so you can kind of meet them, or if you have any questions about patrol functions, you can ask him about that. So as we discussed yesterday, we're trying to attract per diem candidates, and right now our the salary that we're bringing them in at is at the bottom of all of the different municipalities in the county. So we're trying to bring our rates up so we can be competitive with the other agencies that are trying to recruit.
Any questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried. Great.
Thank you very much.
Have a great afternoon.
Appreciate it.
Okay, second up is Langdon Chapman. Allison is here. Human Resources. There are 2 items on the agenda. Number 1 is a request to authorize a grade increase for the public health nurse position from grade 14 to grade 16, and that position be hired at step 5 of the salary change from $42.53 to $49.81 per hour for 2025. When deemed necessary by the Commissioner of Human Resources, legislative request number 048.
So moved.
Luhan and Sierra.
Hi,
Go
good
ahead.
afternoon, everyone. So the Department of Human Resources has worked closely with the Health Department on various recruitment difficulties. The public health nurse position still is quite an issue with hiring. Currently, they are at grade 14, step 5. So our request here today is to reallocate them to a grade 16 and also at that step 5 recruitment level. Lisa, Deputy Commissioner of Health, could probably go into a lot more detail about their recruitment difficulty, but we're here to support that.
Thank you. So since 2022, we have lost 7 public health nurses, and their positions have not been able to be filled. We swapped one of those positions for 2 LPN positions, which we'll be talking about in just a moment. And we had absolutely no interest in filling those either. So our basic public health functions of immunization, sexual health clinic, addressing the needs of the residents in Orange County who need our services are being limited by the fact that we do not have enough nurses to staff our necessary clinics, et cetera. As you probably are aware, we have a beautiful health bus that we have not been able to utilize as much as we would like because we don't honestly have the staff to staff it.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And first off, I mean, it's really horrible to see that because, you know, we obviously want to be able to provide the services to all of our residents. Do you believe that this increase will be competitive in comparison to other, nonprofits or agencies that are also trying to pick at the few nurses that are in the area?
So we looked at Sun River and what they pay their nurses because we felt like they were also a mission-driven healthcare organization. And this increase is sort of in line with what their current ads are on Indeed.
Okay.
So we're more hopeful. We're never going to compete with hospitals, certainly not city hospitals. That's and it's a different kind of work. The acuity of the patients that we see is much less than people who are in,
ER.
In an ER and acute care setting. So it's hard to really compete with that. I was saying my daughter, who's 26, has one of her best friends is a nurse at Mount Sinai, special surgery. She makes $250,000 a year. She's 26. So we're never going to compete with that, right? So we're looking for a very special kind of person, but we know that the people that we've had to come in to interview have immediately just said, no, that's not enough money.
We see it also in the nonprofit sector so much. It's so
Mhm.
difficult to be able to hire. That's why I asked the question, it's just because we're seeing it and it's really hard to keep these workers and, they're gonna try to go for where they can find a better quality of life,
Mhm.
hours, so at least if we're able to do the hiring portion of it, I'm completely in support of this. I just wanted to make sure that we were raising it to a level that was amenable.
I
Because
think
if it's
that,
not high enough, then we're
Right.
gonna have to do this again in 6 months and a year, so.
right,
Good.
right.
I'm in
And
favor.
we are exploring a lot of different options beyond just raising the salary. We're looking at agency nurses, we're looking at other types of ways to staff our clinics and other services. But we're hopeful.
Joe, go ahead.
Sure, just to be clear, so the position for public health nurse, they're actually performing nursing services, it's not administrative.
It's a little bit of both. So, for example, our immunization program, which is a grant program, requires us to immunize uninsured or underinsured children and adults. But there's also some compliance things that the grant requires. For example, we have to go and audit physician records in a certain number of doctors' offices throughout the year to make sure that immunizations are being completed according to the state schedule. So there is an administrative piece of it. And that's one of the reasons that, we're not going to be even looking at what, ICU nurses, is going to be making. There is an administrative piece and a patient care piece. Like for our sexual health clinics, there's testing, there's administration of medications, vaccines, et cetera. But there's also investigation of patients who have sexually transmitted infections to their partners and trying to provide notifications. So it's both.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
very welcome.
Just one more question if I
Yeah,
may.
go ahead.
I assume exit interviews are done. Are you finding that during the exit interviews, some of the reason being salary for leaving?
Some of it is salary, but quite honestly, we had, after COVID, a lot of our nurses who were close to retirement age retired, and they just decided to retire. A fair number of them retired. A couple of nurses that we had chose other options due to the salary, but the people who we're bringing in the very few interviews that we've done, all of them have said no because of the salary.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Dr. Young and Mr. Martland are taking notes. This is great recruitment material for City Orange to really push that program, which is a great program, by the way. So I'll just add to, my daughter is a third-year nursing student. She has received to date 3, maybe 4 now, offers of 100,000 and higher.
Oh, yes.
She's 20 years old
Right.
because they just can't find. So to add to your dilemma here, you see it. You see it all over the country. So anyone else? Yes, but Mr. Chairman.
Do you have an opportunity to hire per diems for this to get that bus back on the road?
That is one of our options that we're exploring right now, is through we have an RFQ that we're putting through the procurement process for per diem nurses. And we've also thought about part-time nurses. So, yeah, we're trying every way that we can. This is one of those ways.
Would this be the same salary for the per diem, or does that have to be a new program?
It depends on, it would be the same salary for an employed per diem. There would just be no benefits.
Okay,
If we chose to go with a contracted nurse who is going to work on a part-time basis, then it would be around the same, but then there would be no benefits associated with it.
I mean, just to get that bus on the road, I think it might be an option.
I think it's a really great idea.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried. Okay, number 2 is a request to authorize the hiring of licensed practical nurses at step 5 in the health department with a salary change from $25.12 to $29.16 per hour when deemed necessary by the Commissioner of Human Resources. Also legislative request number 048.
So moved.
And Sierra. Okay,
Thank you. So along the same lines, experiencing recruitment difficulties at the LPN level as well. These positions were created last year. They are grade 8. New employees coming into positions are hired at a step 2 unless we authorize or you authorize the advanced step higher. So we do feel the grade is still appropriate at the grade 8, but we are requesting approval to authorize the advanced step higher of step 5. Valley View also has LPN positions and they are grade 8. So again, the 8 seems appropriate. It's just we need that step 5 for a little bit more help with the recruitment.
And I believe that you said that the Valley View nurses are hired at the step
Yes,
5.
yes. So Valley View nurses, they have their own differential schedule. They are hired at the step 5, so and then the nurses at the health department are on the regular CSEA schedule, excuse me. So LPNs at the health department will make a little less money per hour, but the nature of their position and their duties are different. So it still seems appropriate at this time.
any questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Good luck with
very much.
everything, yeah. Okay, number 3 is Lacey Trimble, our Commissioner of Social Services and Mental Health. Lacey, come on up. I noticed that Legislator Pat Jones has joined us as well. Thank you, Legislator Pat Jones. Good afternoon, Lacey, how are you?
Doing well, how are you?
Good, thank you. We have a request to create one account clerk grade 6 position to provide necessary clerical support to ensure all required documents are in place and meet the requirements established with the allocation. No local funds involved. This is legislative request number 041. Can I have a motion and second?
Second.
That was Menuda
Yes.
and Benjamin, okay. Okay,
And so this is for a family-centered case management program that's funded through an allocation in the state budget. As you said, there are no local funds. I've reported out many times in the last few months about the number of families that we have in hotels and motels because our shelters are all full. We just completed our end of year report and we had 112 families per month in hotels on average last year. So this program will provide intensive case management to those families because currently there are not services if you're in a hotel. You have services when you're in a shelter. So this case management would include employment, housing supports, mental health supports. Those will all be contractual services that are brought in. There is a high level of need for somebody to monitor the paperwork, the reporting, the support for those positions. We're requesting an account clerk grade 6 for that. We did discuss in the Human Services Committee that the position is contingent on the funding. We expect that that would be ongoing funding year to year. It is right now coming in just under $500,000 a year. But if it were to be eliminated, we would be abolishing the position.
did the Human Services put that in the resolution?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Well, do you want to amend it in line with,
Yeah, I think that would be
services?
appropriate. I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes. Motion to amend it to,
To abolish the position upon termination of funding.
okay. We good, Doreen?
Yes, I just need
Just
to make the motion in a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Legislator Lujan, Legislator Beckman, second. Thank you. Okay, all in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Okay. We good, or we need another motion?
Another vote.
We're
We
good.
now-
We need another vote.
We need another vote on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
act. Okay. Okay, as amended, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Have a great afternoon. Okay, next up, we have Dr. Roman, our medical examiner and acting Commissioner of Health. And Lisa Hip again. Hello, ladies. Good afternoon. Okay, we have a request to create one Health Department Grants Coordinator, grade 13 position. This position is a stipulated position and contingent upon grant funding through the Public Health Infrastructure Grant, or PHIG. Legislative request number 031. Can I have a motion and a second? Sierra. Hey, ladies, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you. The CDC's Public Health Infrastructure Grant is an effort after COVID to support critical public health work. The Orange County Department of Health, through the New York State Department of Health, received an allocation of funds. Approved uses of these funds include workforce development, upgrades to the 1887 building to boost staff morale and to create new positions. Right now, we were asking for approval to approve a grants coordinator. We have sort of a gap. We have a large number of our services are provided by grants, and we have a lot of very good people working in those grants, on the operations of the grants. And then we have a number of folks in the fiscal division who are responsible for submitting all of the claims for vouchering and things like that for the grant. So there is a little bit of a gap between those two groups of people, and we're hoping to hire a grants coordinator to sort of bridge that gap. The function of this person would also be to seek out new grants for the health department to continue to be able to provide our critical services to the residents of Orange County. This is contingent upon the continued funding of the Public Health Infrastructure Grant. And if the grant is terminated, the position would be terminated as well.
Okay. Do you have an idea how much that grant is? Is it an annual grant?
So it's actually a 5-year grant, and the total allocation that we received is $923,704. And it started in I'm trying to see. I can't see. I believe we're in the second year, right? We're in the second year.
Second year of that. Anyone have any questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so carried. Thank you, ladies. Have a great afternoon.
My card for you.
There's another job, well.
There you go. There's more.
Okay, next up is Travis Ewald, our Commissioner, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation. Are you all alone, Commissioner, today?
I am.
Okay, come on up. Okay, how are you today?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we have a request to create one horticultural assistant grade 8 position at $25.12 per hour. Legislative request number 035. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second, we've got Menuda and Sierra. Okay, Commissioner, floor is yours.
Thank you. This request is to create a horticultural assistant. The position is intended for the Orange County Arboretum. This position was already included in the approved 2025 operating budget. So this request is really just to create the position. There's no additional funding request. And the work that's done by the horticultural supervisor and this position, the assistant, which would assist him, is a fairly technical and specialized work in the Arboretum. It's work that I'm not very familiar with. to be honest with you. But this position would also allow for succession planning and transfer of knowledge from our current horticultural supervisor.
He's been there a while now.
Yes.
Any questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried. Thank you, Commissioner. Have a great
Yeah,
afternoon.
thank you very much.
No green thumb?
Not for me, no, unfortunately.
Kevin, Valley Central kid. Wife. His grandfather was my teacher.
He was on, his grandfather was on Fish and Wildlife.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, next up, number 6, our probation director, Tim Davidian. Tim, come on up. Tim appeared before Public Safety yesterday, and this was unanimously approved. So we have a request to create 2 additional principal clerk grade 7 positions and fund an existing principal clerk position and abolish 2 typist 2 positions as they become fully vacant. Funds to come from existing budget. Legislative request number 019. Can I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, Director, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. As I indicated at Public Safety yesterday, this was something that's been on the department's radar for about the last 10 years. Numerous desk audits were begun, but never completed because individuals got promotions or went to other agencies. Our front desk operations in Goshen handle in excess of 5,000 cases a year. And their workload is significantly different than our typist 2s in our other offices. They're communicating with the courts, they're clarifying court orders. They're doing a lot of legwork trying to make sure that the documents we receive are in a proper order and legally sufficient. So I thought with the retirement of one of our senior support staff people at the end of last year, that this was a good opportunity to upgrade the Goshen front desk area and not have a budget increase. So we'll be able to accomplish the promotions of 3 of our typist 2s to principal clerks and fill 1 vacant typist 2 position, and we'll still save approximately $18,000 to $20,000 over this year's budget.
Any questions, comments? Legislator Menuda, go
That
ahead.
savings includes benefits.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried. Thank you, Director. Have a great afternoon. Okay, and number 7, we have Dr. Young and Mr. Martland from the college. Folks, come on up. Good afternoon. Good to see you.
Good afternoon.
Okay, we have a couple of items here. Letter A, request to amend Act 23 of 1992 by removing reference to 520 maximum and change it to reflect no more than 19 hours per week. In addition, amend starting salary to be no more than $3 than the presiding minimum wage. Legislative request number 316. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
Lujan and Menuda. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you,
Good afternoon.
and with your permission, I'd love to quickly defer to Paul for explanations.
Okay, thank you. This is really just an attempt to give us a little more flexibility. What we've discovered is the so-called 520 maximum jobs, the college auxiliary category. Every year we utilize a few of these folks, either in maintenance or in office assisting in some place. And the issue we run up against is the maximum hours of 520 sometimes doesn't work. And the pay was tied to the minimum wage. And so in discussions with the county HR office, and they agreed with us, we thought we should try to make this a little more flexible. So rather than have a 520-hour max for a year, we would have a maximum of no more than 19 hours in a week. And the wages would be able to go up to $3 an hour over the minimum wage. So it gives us a little more flexibility. There's no benefits, there's no sick days associated with it, but it does make it a little more attractive to those folks who might want to come in and help us on a short-term basis.
So that would obviously push it way over the 520, it'd be 700-800 hours.
Well, it depends. It would be less than 52 weeks.
Right.
But it would be somewhat more, yes.
Yeah. But again, that helps you find these people.
Yeah, it helps us find people, and a little more flexible in how we utilize them.
Any questions?
We need to add a word after $3 technically, because it's not proper grammar, I don't think. In addition, we would like to amend the starting salary to be no more than $3 more than
Oh,
the
yes,
presiding minimum wage.
you are correct.
So I'll make that motion.
So you want to change it to what, Lee? I'm sorry.
Change it
Amend
to say
starting
to be
salary.
no more than $3 more than the presiding minimum wage. It says $3
Gotcha.
than.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Just needs clarification.
That was a history
So
teacher.
moved.
Okay, gotcha. Good, go ahead.
I'd just like to clarify the first portion of it. So would it not be better to have 950 hours a week based on 50 weeks a year rather than saying 19 hours per week? That would give you more, I would think that would give you more flexibility to have people more than 19 hours a week unless there's some restriction.
Well, there's, you can start to get into issues of benefits eligibility. So I think that's why the 19 hours was chosen. I was not party to the discussions with the county HR office, but I know our HR people and those folks agreed on this approach. So I would suggest we keep it.
Appreciate it. Thank you for clarification.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, so do I need to alter this?
I think so.
Motion.
Motion
and
to-
And I second it.
Okay, so we have a motion by Lee and second
Yes.
by legislator Lujan to amend the wording to reflect $3 more than the presiding minimum wage, correctly?
Mhm.
That's correct.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, and all in favor of the request?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so carried. Okay, and we have letter B, request to create one grounds maintenance worker grade 6, position at 2183.91 per hour or 45,425.33 annually. That's legislative request number 317. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Okay, Sierra and Lujan. I just want to make sure everyone's aware, these are already in your budget, correct? They're not new positions on our part. They're all in your budget, so. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so the ground maintenance mechanic position is for our Newburgh campus. And one of the issues we've found is some of the job descriptions can be a little restrictive. And we happen to have a situation where someone in a laborer position has retired a few months back. And we thought rather than replace it as a laborer, the person is going to focus primarily on grounds issues. But given the nature of the campus and, weather and so forth, they're not always going to be doing grounds work. So having the ability to do some of the maintenance associated with grounds equipment and so forth and some general maintenance helps the whole operation. So that was really to look for some flexibility.
You can shift them around as needed.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried. 2, request to create one principal payroll clerk grade 9, position at 25.37 per hour or 52,772.94 annually. Legislative request also number 317. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second. Okay, Lujan and Sierra.
Okay, this one is actually asking to create a position in anticipation of a retirement that will be happening later in the year. From the position that is being retired from has a title of payroll specialist, which goes back into the mist of time, apparently to a time when it was a grant-funded position. It has long since been on the college's payroll, but it isn't a title that we would use today. Principal payroll clerk gives us the flexibility. It matches the titles of the other folks in payroll. So it's really just a cleanup to make the title reflect the activities. Another point on this one is we may not indeed fill this position. We are in the midst right now of a major revamping, replacement actually, of our human resources information system and payroll system. And that project will be taking place probably won't get finished until the fall. Hopefully, the new workflows associated with the new systems will be more efficient and will not require as much human intervention as we've had. So this would be a position that we would not fill if that indeed turns out to be the case. But having it on the books, if we need to fill it, is what we're looking for.
Okay. Questions or comments? Lee, go ahead.
What was the old title?
I believe it was payroll specialist.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried. Thank you, folks. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. E&E coming up.